And now the news for the East Midlands. Good afternoon, I'm Rebecca Sheeran. First today, tributes are being paid to the Nottingham teacher who died on a school trip in Austria. We've been told to move to the car park and that we can't actually film what's going on behind us. We have to move over here, but you can see there are trucks that are leaving the suitcases in the freezing cold in the snow for passengers to come outside and try and find those cases. We were told by the hospital that we weren't allowed to film inside, but I went to visit the ward with the family. I saw rehydration drips on a couple of the patients and was told by nurses that's because they'd become severely dehydrated. And I was also told by some of the staff that working conditions had become just awful with the stifling heat. The inquest was told that Terence was found dead in his accommodation with a gunshot wound to his head, but that there was nothing suspicious about his death. He'd had access to a rifle and ammunition. Speaking at the inquest, his wife Angela, who also works in the armed forces, said they'd struggled to manage their relationship and working in the army, and she suspected that he was struggling with depression. The weekend before he died, she tried time and time again to contact a welfare officer at the barracks to get help for Terence, but after all she could reach was an answer phone, she gave up. Good afternoon, Sarah. Well, as you can see, we've been listening very closely to what George Osborne has had to say so far. We know he's going to make £2.5 billion worth of cuts, but where they're going to be, we just don't know. And of course, will it be right for East Midlands businesses? Bullying happens right across the East Midlands and affects children from all backgrounds. But just how big of a problem is it? Well, last year, Childline discovered that children are being bullied in more ways, more frequently, and at a younger age than ever.
How serious then is the issue of sexual exploitation in Nottingham, say?
Well, we saw the figures from today, but actually they could be even higher, and you heard in that from the NSPCC. The thing with sexual exploitation, the nature of it is it often goes unreported. Here in Derbyshire, that means 17 stations will turn to just 2. These protesters say that's not going to be enough.
Rebecca Sheeran's been to a school where 2 of their pupils have lost their lives.
And so now a new campaign that started is saying that wearing one of these and selling bikes with these should be compulsory. Of course, a lot going on here today, and we'll be looking very closely here in the newsroom as to what he says this afternoon, and we'll bring you all the latest as to how it will affect you in the East Midlands at 6:30 tonight.
Rebecca Sheeran reports.
As Rebecca Sheeran reports.
Rebecca Sheeran has this.
Hello, Angelina. Well, behind me is the enclosure where the 8 cheeky chimps are living, and this morning they decided to cause a little bit of mischief. They escaped, and it meant the zoo wasn't able to open. 40 years ago, when the Dowager Duchess of Devonshire first opened this farm, she would borrow sheep and cattle from the local estate and bring them here to show the children. Years later, they now live here full time, but the idea has stayed exactly as she wanted it to be. Well, I'm here at Rutland Sailing Club, and you can see lots of activity going on here today, and it's good news all round because they have just found out they've secured £50,000. It's part of Sport England's £40 million funding. In 1485, around 1,000 soldiers died near here at the Battle of Bosworth. It would pave the way for Henry VII to take the throne, but it was the end for Richard III. He was killed in battle, and of course his bones discovered just recently in the city of Leicester. It's thought there are less than 100,000 Western lowland gorillas left in the wild. Hunting and habitat loss are just some of the reasons they're coming dangerously close to being extinct in the wild. So the birth of this new baby is really being celebrated. Abseiling and British gas, it's not usually 2 things that you'd put together, but here at the centre there are so many parts stored incredibly high up, and so it has to be part of their safety training.
Very brave. Actually, it doesn't look difficult, but to step off the edge like that.
It's taken 260 tonnes of sand to build this beach here, as well as the water behind me, deck chairs and everything else that you would expect at the seaside. And today, on its final day, the sun is shining and everyone's been able to enjoy it in its full glory.
We enlisted a keen windsurfer herself, our own Becky Sheeran.
When I'm not working at East Midlands today, I'm heading out to water, windsurfing, and today I'm going to show you exactly why we should love it. The farm shop's best kept secret is growing right here. Now, it might look like an empty field at the moment, but come April, fresh asparagus is going to pop up, and I've been told it's some of the best.
Whilst many of our numbers shied away somewhat, Rebecca Sheeran did take up the challenge.
I was asked to join those women and go barefaced for the day. Now, trust me, that is a big deal. And on to football. The busy Easter weekend of fixtures continues today. In the Championship, all our sides are away from home.
Even if it rains, you're going to get soaked anyway.
So what's it going to be like, Rebecca?
Well, we have seen quite a bit of snow, haven't we? And it is going to continue through the afternoon, but it's going to get lighter, it's going to be quite cloudy, and it's certainly going to feel very, very cold.
But now we need to find out what the weather is doing. The person who has the answer, I hope, Rebecca.
I have the answer. I'm not sure whether it's going to be good news though, because there is some heavy rain coming our way. Now, what a difference a few days makes. We've said goodbye to the heaviest of the snow, but you can see these weather fronts coming in from over the Atlantic, which we will see over the next couple of days. So for those of you going on a Friday night out, why don't you go barefaced for children in need? Go on, I dare you. Rebecca Sheeran at BBC East Midlands today. Not time to get rid of my hot water bottle either. Well, that's all from the lunchtime here. Quentin will be here with more news just after 6:15.
And at the end of the day, when you're soaking wet, you can head in and have a nice warm cuppa. Home sweet home.